Hello everyone, welcome to day 236 of playing chess every day for you. Let's find the game. Playing against e4, I'll do the same that I've done many times. And we get d4, so I'll play d5. They push e6. I think I just push c5 here. They develop a knight. I can go ahead and push e6. If they choose to give me a check, I'll actually block with my knight on c6. Instead, they bring out their dark squared bishop, but I think this isn't so good. Because I could choose to now develop my knight and try to go. I could also play queen to b6 now to target this. I'm not really sure of my best play here. If I develop my knight, they can take and I can never recapture, so maybe I actually go ahead and recapture now. The bishop does take. I think my first move here will be to just tempo the bishop. If they pin me, I'm happy to kick them away. They can't really move their bishop to many squares. If they slide their bishop back, I'll probably develop my queen to b6. Instead they choose to pin me, so now I'll take the chance to play a6. They choose to go back with their bishop, so I'll actually break the pin here. I have this queen move. I have this queen check, which would seem very good. Almost winning me the bishop, but the only move they'd have to defend is bringing the knight out. I think I go for this. The only move here is knight blocking, which lets me play b5, forcing the bishop back. Then I can probably kick the knight away. Yeah, so the bishop will have to go back. And because the knight is now pinned to the king, they could of course sacrifice the knight, but because the knight is now pinned to the king, it could give me some very nice moves. If the bishop goes back to b4, I probably just push my pawn. And so queen up here would hit the bishop. Instead I'll probably choose to push this pawn. I could take here now. And if the queen takes, that's annoying for me. If I take here now and the knight takes, I could probably come in and try to add some pressure to the knight. I think I'll go for this. And I can definitely damage their structure here with a move like bishop to f4. Instead they take with their queen. Now if I push, they can always just leave. I think I'll actually go ahead and go for the pin here, because this could let me win, or not win a pawn, it would let me damage their structure, which is still good for me. I could also try to tempo their queen somehow. They go ahead and castle, but this just loses a pawn, or it damages their structure at least. If the queen takes, I damage their structure, so I wouldn't really do that. They did take with the pawn. Now I think I start trying to tempo their queen by developing my knight and by castling. Knight to f5 seems good. And if I get my queen to a3, I'll be attacking a rook and a pawn, so they are castled now though, so it would only be the pawn. My light squared bishop is very bad at the moment. Completely locked out of the game. The queen slides over, which stops me from being able to castle. But this move just gives me knight to f5 anyway. It also undefends this. So I think here I'll actually go for... I could go for bishop b7 and then d4. Just trying to damage their structure as much as I can. This actually looks like a nice idea. If I jump forward here, they don't have any checks. And my knight is safe, so I will go for this first. And bishop b7 and d4 actually looks like a nice idea for me. This is hanging, so I could have taken the chance to just take the pawn here, probably. Instead I just develop. They can't come to these squares at least. With their queen. The only good squares b4 for the queen trade. They slide down with their queen, but this doesn't hit anything. This doesn't target anything here, so maybe they're trying for this. But if they do that, I'll just go ahead and castle. I think here I'll take the pawn. This move does force the queen to move. I could go for my bishop idea. But right now they're defending their knight. I'll go ahead and take on c3 here. They don't hit anything. If they jump their knight in to g5, I can just castle and I'll be completely fine. They do jump a knight in and they are attacking this. And the real problem is that now if I castle, this would be checkmate. I do have to be worried about this. A move that I would have here is queen takes e5, but that doesn't work. I don't defend this. I could just go back with my queen and then castle. I could also push here. Pushing here seems like the move. Going back with the queen seems quite weak. And they can take this pawn. They would be pinning themselves to their queen though. I feel like pushing or coming back with the queen is best. I'm not sure which one's better. I could come back with my queen and then push, which could be good for me. I can't hold on to this. I could bring my rook up, which I didn't see. I'll probably actually play rook up here. Just defending. Now I'm attacking this. If they develop a rook, I just go back. And I'll be up 2 pawns. I keep my attack on this, which is important for me. If I can win the e-pawn, then I'll be doing very well. They do go ahead and defend. That's a good choice. Still can't castle now. Could try to remove their bishop, but it's not a big problem at the moment. If I push and force the knight to leave, I can play bishop b7 and then maybe push. I could just jump my knight in and try to win a pawn. Which actually seems very nice for me. Their knight cannot hurt me at the moment. Their rook isn't looking at anything. I think I'm completely safe around my king at the moment. I'll actually go ahead here and try to win a pawn, which would come with a fork. I guess if I did that, they'd be able to pin me. But then I'd probably take both rooks. If I take here, if I take here and they pin me, I can probably take both rooks. Now if I take here, they take with opening up an attack on my bishop, which is not good for me at all. If I give a check, they just slide up and take. Taking the bishop cannot be good for me. I could double up. I think I can also go ahead and castle here now, although that would lose to mate, so no. I can't do that. I can't target their queen though. I can't just improve my rook. So if I take, and they take with the rook, that's not possible because it loses to mate. And if I take, and they take with the bishop, They're just pinning themselves to the rook almost. Although taking cannot be good for me if the bishop takes. It just opens up an extra piece on this. Think a simple plan here. This is also defended by the queen. I think I just improve my bishop here. Although that undefends this, so I think what I have to start here with is rook to c7. Just improving my rook. Keeping everything protected. I'm using a lot of my time here, so I do need to speed up. But I should be okay. And now of course I'd be threatening to take the bishop, and if they take with the pawn, I just take the rook and it's back rank mate, so I'm now threatening to take the bishop with my knight. Yeah, that would actually be checkmate. Very simple move here, and if they take with the c-pawn, it's a massive blunder. Throws the game away for them. And taking the bishop is also good because even if they take with the a-pawn, I'm able to start an attack on this side of the board, which is just good for me. Although maybe I need to worry about their rook being active. Isn't it the same thing just here? I mean, this time if I take and they take... Well, if I take the bishop and they take with this, and if I take... they can probably just block. So let me calculate. Takes, takes, takes. If they block, I take and they take. And takes, takes if I take and they take and I take. Yeah, that's just good for me. I'll go ahead and take. They have to take this way. If they take with the c-pawn, I take. If they take, that loses. And if they take and I take and they block, I just win the piece. So that doesn't work either. Also, I am just attacking this pawn if I want to take one. They do take the right way for them. I could go ahead and just take now. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and maybe take this central pawn and then try and push. I could push here, not right now. Although I think I just go for this, it's completely safe. I'm also pinning their knight to their queen. Pushing here could be an idea. They target my queen. I can just keep the pin though. Yeah, I think I just maintain the pin here. And obviously I'm just playing for h6 here. I'm also attacking this now with my rook. Although the problem with this is that if I take... I mean, this allows me to take with the queen obviously, but if I took with the pawn, they could take my rook, so... They're probably trying to hit my queen. If I go here... If I go here... I can really try and expand here. Could go for this. If they go for this, my queen is forced back. If I play this, they target my queen. This is very weak also if I do that. Could probably just take the pawn here. I think if they play this, I always just slide back, and if we trade, I'm fine. And the reason this move is good is also because of this. If they take, I take. Wow, I've really just blundered here. Wow, now I've made the game much more interesting because if they take the rook, I can't actually take. Yeah, they just go ahead and take. I mean... the rook's hanging, but I can't take it. And this pawn is pinned. I'm just breaking the pin. If they just go back here, they're completely fine. That's a huge blunder from me. I don't know what I was thinking here. My rook was the only reason why my back rank was protected. And I just give them a rook. And even if I win the knight here, it's just not good for me with this kind of structure. The rook can always just come in. Also, there's just this now. I've made a complete mess of my position. This is chaos now. Them taking is probably their best move. They have a check that just solves the game really. It wins the game for them. Rook takes c2 was a terrible move from me. I have no idea why I played this. Disgusting move. I just give them such a good threat. They can just take here and go back with their queen. And they will very probably win the game. The queen comes in. But that just can't be a good move because they just missed this check. Even if they come in, I just move my rook. Then if they take, I should be fine there. After I move my queen down here. Yeah, they just completely blundered here by not taking the bishop. There's no mates. If they play queen in, or queen all the way in, I can always defend myself. On c5. The queen does come in, I have to give up a pawn now. They do take. Now I have to defend myself with this move. And somehow I'm defending myself here. I still think I'm doing worse, but at least I'm able to push these pawns. I also have this square to hit the rook and defend myself, but it doesn't help that much. Rook takes c2 was such a blunder from me. Here if the knight takes, if the queen takes, then I'm happy to trade. They find a very nice move. But I think here I just move my king. And not upwards, I have to keep the rook defended. And now I have a very nice move. I mean, I would have had a very nice move. Queen to c4 with a fork on the knight and rook, but it doesn't work. They are also down on the clock, so they choose to make some space. I'm just gonna run my pawns now. And I'm really going to try and force some mistakes from them. King over. I'm just going for this. And if they push, I go to d6. And so I guess here they're just playing to try and trick me, but I think a move that I have here is simply just queen over. Defending everything. I could take the rook, but then they take here and I really don't like that at all. Yeah, I think I just go back here to defend. The best square is probably... I mean, this square looks nice. I think I'll just play it safe and bring my queen very close to my king. And I can always just set up some checks. I can lock their rook out of the game by pushing. They're down to 1 minute. They go ahead and take. And I'm fine with that because I just take here. There are some issues there. I think I just need to just play it safe here. Bring my bishop in. They can pick up some pawns, but that's fine by me because I get to push. My queen can't move, so I'm just being as careful as I can be. I'm trying to set up a check to annoy them. They're trying to win the piece, but I just have a check now. I can't actually defend the rook, but I can slide back with it. They just block, but I can give up the bishop here, I'm quite sure. If the king takes, that cannot be good for them. I also see this attacking the rook. It's a fork. It gets them to panic. They just go for this simple approach. I'm fine with that. I can't win the knight, so I'll probably just do this. I target my bishop, but I can actually lock it in. I can also attack the knight. But then they're just winning. I need to be very careful here. I think I have to keep material on the board. The knight isn't trapped. Very annoying for me. If they give a check, I can always just run. Yeah, they block my king off from escaping, but if they give any checks, I just run my king. I think I push here. My king should definitely be safe. They're trying to hit my bishop, and that's nice, but I think I can push here. If I push and they take my bishop, I can push. I can save my bishop here. But then the king comes in here. Could come in here. The problem is their king can come in. I think I target their knight here. Though pushing seems so good. Wow, they do manage to stop both of my pawns here. Very annoyingly for me. But they cannot take both of them. I think I need to bring my king into the game as soon as possible. I cannot force a pawn here. I think what I do, activating my king makes the most sense. Them taking here makes the most sense for them. They can pin me, that's okay. I cannot move my king away, allowing them this square though, so I kind of have to push her. King over gives me a check. I also have this check. I mean, I have to make a move here. I can't really step back because then the king comes in. All these moves look bad. Their king goes back. I'm just in a bad spot here. They can start pushing. They can win a pawn here, so maybe I could have made a knight here to give a check, but I don't think it would have given that much. It's basically checkmate for them. I'll go ahead and resign here. And let's look at this game. I actually think I played very well until I played rook c2. And it looks like I was winning at some points. I was completely winning at some points, but otherwise white was doing okay. I did make 3 blunders this game and I had 4 mistakes. And they had 8 misses, so let's look at this game. We both played with a low accuracy. Yeah, I should have just taken the free pawn here when I had the chance. They had to try and defend it with rook 2, with queen b4 like I said. That's another mistake because of rook up. The best move is actually just to break the pawn and tempo the queen, because then I'll be attacking this. That's a mistake. Because I give up the h pawn. But they miss it. And I make a blunder here. I'm losing the h pawn, but that would just pin the knight to the queen, so it's not really the best move. I guess they could always just defend the knight. I missed h6 to keep the pawn defended and to kick the knight away. Taking here was wrong. They actually could have taken this pawn with their knight. Why? How? I guess if I take their queen, which I absolutely would have done, they could take here with check. Knight takes g7 check is a fork and it wins a pawn. That makes sense. But they would not have seen that, there's no way. And obviously the worst move in the entire game, from +3 to -5, rook takes c2, undefending my king and just being greedy without calculating taking pawns. I can't take the rook because I undefend f7. I was actually just supposed to take this. They take king d8, knight takes e6 check, bishop takes, they can take here. They're completely winning. Yep, queen c5 is the best move. Queen all the way back is the best move. Not sure why. Probably just going for a check with the knight. I had to actually take the rook. Really, and I'm winning here. There's no threat. They take here. King c7. Queen e7 check. King b6 or even king b8 and I'm completely safe. To be honest, I did not see this. And this is what I should have gone for. Because they would have had not little time. A bit over 1 minute. I would have been completely safe. This is a blunder. Because this is a check. We both missed that. We both missed that. I'm actually completely lost here. Yeah, I did have to play bishop b3. But I didn't, to save the bishop from the knight. Then knight to... Best move is g4. Because I allowed them to take my bishop, which is very bad. I shouldn't have allowed them to take the bishop. Even though I'm pushing here. This wasn't even the best move. The best move was knight check, winning a pawn, or giving a check. I guess the big mistake here was, in this endgame, was not playing bishop b3. But overall the worst move I played this entire game was rook takes c2. Just a silly blunder. And that's what lost me the game. Because before this I was completely winning in this position. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you tomorrow.